And welcome into the Bulldog Blitz. I'm Gerhard Mathangani, joined in by the head coach of the Anniston Bulldogs, Eddie Bullock. Coach, the Anniston Bulldogs, for the first time, came back home from being on the road and came back home for homecoming. And obviously one of the best performances of the season in a 55-13 win over White Plains. First off, your overall thoughts about how everything shook out Friday night.
Well, just glad to get a win. We came out and had a little energy, and we had a good week of preparation. And the guys kind of bought into what we were explaining to them we needed to do to kind of stay in the playoff race. And we're just glad to get a win.
Very few people know what it's like on a coach to guide a team through homecoming, because there's just so many different things going on through the week and a lot of different potential distractions and a lot of things that the students are involved in, the football players are involved in, the band, the cheerleaders, and it's a whole school-wide and community-wide event. Walk us through a week with homecoming on Friday nights.
Well, of course, you have the different activities that take place during the school. You have the dress-up days and things such as that. But one of the biggest distractions for us was the fact that we've never participated in the homecoming parade, and we just, time just wouldn't permit us to do it. And this year we made concessions to do it, but we ended up actually not quite practicing. We went through some things and just cut it down because we let the guys go down and march in the parade, and thank God it worked out for us, but it's kind of tough on you because you don't want your players to get caught up in all the activities, because the primary goal for you is to win the game, it's not to be involved in all the activities.
Right, and it's got to be a little bit difficult too, because you kind of want to strike that perfect balance of letting them enjoy the week, but at the same time understanding that we have a football game to play on Friday night.
Right, and that's basically what happened with us. I just kind of took a back seat and just, I told them if they wanted to participate, they could. And I didn't really try to place any guidelines on it. I just, I told them not to be distracted, to stay focused on the main purpose, which was the game. And I just kind of sit back and just let, the chips fall where they may.
Absolutely. And we'll get into a lot more of the homecoming situation and a lot more of what shook out after homecoming a little bit later in the show. But first, let's go back to the game. 55 points, the most points you've scored so far this season. Talk about the offensive output.
Well, we figured that they would actually be able to put up some points. And offensively, we went back to some of the things that we did terminology-wise. We went back to the way we called some plays a couple of years ago when I was calling the plays to kind of make things a little simpler for the guys and to be able to make the offense transition more fluently. It's basically the same plays, just change some of the terminology, and they had to do less thinking, and that made it better for the guys.
Absolutely, absolutely. They started fast and they finished strong. The Anniston Bulldogs with a 55-13 win over White Plains. You'll check out how it happened next on the Bulldog Blitz. We're back here on the Bulldog Blitz homecoming night out at Anniston as the Anniston Bulldogs took on White Plains. Coach, talk about what you saw here in the first half.
Well, we wanted to start fast. We won the coin toss, and we deferred to play defense because we felt like we could stop them. And, we came out and basically just ran a couple of inside plays. We wanted to establish the run on the inside and then try to get the edges. You can see here we ran the zone read to the right, and we got Mario Dobbins out on the wing, and he was actually able to punch it in. So, start of a successful night. We of course we got a good kickoff, but that's one of the things we have to work on right here. We got good coverage right here from the left side, but the right side we still didn't get the proper coverage that we needed. And of course here you see us defense. We were able to hold them and make them punt the football, and We gave an outside zone read to L.J. Hurd right on that possession, and he was able to get a big gain of that. And, Jeremy McCants, we came right back. We just kept hitting him with the 1-2 punch. On this particular play, we ran a shuffle pass to Jeremy McCants. We called it our Tebow play, basically named after Floyd, and he was able to shuffle the ball. And, of course, we didn't convert to PAT, but we came back, and, you could see the defense swarming to the football, and, we were able to make some plays here, and we created a fumble right here. We got back on the football, and we actually ran it down the field right here, and, of course, you can see Mario Dobbins again on the zone read. He got up inside, and, of course, we gave it to Jeremy McCants right here, and he was able to punch it into the end zone. So, we were up at that point, I believe we converted to PAT. We were up 19. No, we actually missed the PAT. We were up 19-0, and my main focus on the sideline at that point was don't relax. You have to stay up, and we did what I told them not to do. We relaxed, and we had a great run right here, and then we after that particular run, now we went backwards. We lost about 35, 40 yards, and we kept shooting ourselves in the foot. We kept going backwards, and we ended up snapping the football over the punter's head, and White Plains got good field position based on our miscues. And then, of course, we went man-to-man defense here, and 10th grade cornerback, he let the guy run a quick slant on us, and that's how they scored. And, instead of being up possibly 4 touchdowns, we let them cut it to 2-touchdown lead, and I was kind of a little bit upset with that.
Right, and you talk about always being able to continue the fight, so to speak. Some of the things that stood out to me in the first half was Jeremy McCants, and one of the things that you said last week was you've been kind of waiting for him to have that game, and between the shovel pass and a couple of good runs there, it seems like he had a pretty good first half.
Well, he did. He actually did all his damages on about 7 or 8 carries. I believe he scored 3 times, and he had, like maybe 80-something, 90-something yards.
Right.
And that was fantastic. And, just kind of waiting on him and L.J. Hurd to kind of put it together, both as a unit. We had a little bit. L.J., I think he had 13 carries for maybe 90-some yards, and 1 touchdown. But just waiting on both of them to put it together.
Absolutely. Also, you had another good play, and it seemed like, and correct me if I'm wrong, it seemed like another quasi-option play there with Rio Dobbins to score that first touchdown, the kind of play that worked against Pell City the week before.
Right. We just ran a zone read off the jet action, and to put an extra block out there, and we give him the option. It's the same side read, which is a tough play to defend. Most guys read the backside, but we sometimes we'll read the backside and we'll read the front side, and we just gave him the option, and he's pretty good in traffic, so he executed it well.
Absolutely. Did you see the fruits of being able to change that terminology, like you talked about that first segment, where you changed the terminology and the fruits of that really showed themselves there in the first half?
Right. It what it does is it stops them from thinking so much, and our plays in the beginning, they were actually the same plays, but we were telling each position, each player what to do on the play. And when I first started calling offensive a few years back, I realized that we had to keep it as simple as possible because guys will concentrate more on, how long the play was and what you were saying versus being able to go out and execute it. So I came up with a system of giving them, basically one-name plays. And we just called that one name, and everybody knew what their assignment was on that one play.
Absolutely. So obviously, it was homecoming week, we talked about earlier, and you'll see in a little while the video of the King and the Queen, and there are two that are really closely related to you as far as from a personal standpoint. Your King was Mario Dobbins, and the Anniston High School homecoming Queen was Miaja Bullock. Obviously, Mario is your quarterback and has been one of your best players for a long time now. And then also your girls basketball player, one of the leaders from your girls basketball team, Miaja Bullock, was the homecoming queen. Obviously, these two student athletes have had a really good place in your heart.
Well, actually, I was proud of both of them, but at halftime, I actually didn't know who won until after the game. She came in, and I knew she was participating in that homecoming court, but when I saw her with the crown, I looked and said, "Oh man, she won the." She was actually homecoming queen, and then of course, I didn't know until I saw on Pigskin Roundup that Mario Dobbins had won. So it was kind of ironic because I was totally focused on trying to get a win.
Right. Well, but talk about those student athletes and kind of what they mean to you and the mean to the school.
Well, of course, you know what Mario. He's my quarterback and basically utility guy. And he does everything. And trying to get him more and more acclimated to being that type of athlete. And then of course, Miege is my niece. She was the second leading scorer on the team last year, and all county performing. She's a close to a 4.0 student, and she's actually going to be probably the lead on the basketball team this year. So I was just kind of proud of them. What they accomplished, and with those two, being able to win homecoming king and queen, was just it was exciting.
Absolutely, it's a vote by the peers, and congratulations to Miege and Rio Dobbins. You'll check out the sights and sounds for Friday night's homecoming week, and you'll see them both to get crowned. We'll come back with second half highlights here on the Bulldog Blitz.
Queen would be our Bulldog administration. Mr. Charles D. Gregory. Hollywood Homecoming Court 2016.
We're back here on the Bulldog Blitz. Anderson took a 19-7 lead to halftime. Coach, talk about some of the things that you wanted to see at this early part of the third quarter.
Well, when we came in at halftime, my halftime adjustment was the fact that, I was a little upset because we had a chance to count on, we may have left 2 touchdowns out on the field, and then we gave up a touchdown. And I was just a little disappointed because, we didn't finish like we should have. And, I challenged them to come back out and finish. And, of course, you can see right there, that's J.B. Carlisle. He's a 9th grader. He's been starting at fullback the last 2 games. And we actually ran a dive to him, and he actually punched it in. So, I was pleased. They came back and responded to what I asked them to do. And, of course, there you seen L.J. Hurd on the outside. And, he's running the ball pretty hard right there. If he'd have made a cut back a little bit quicker, we think he would have scored on that touchdown. But Jeremy McCants, this kid, he was on fire. He was looking for the end zone every time he got the football. So I was proud of him, in that particular situation. And of course, here we had a bad snap, and we actually, when things going well, they just go well. And we was actually able to convert the 2-point conversion to get the score back where we had it. And, of course, the defense came back here, and we were swarming pretty good. We gave up a couple of first downs on this particular run because we got out of position. And, of course, right here we forced a fumble again, and that's James Hayne. He's been the recipient of a couple of fumbles for us this year. He has a high IQ for the football, and, he seems to always be around, and right here we had a great pass by Mario Dobbins. He actually rolled out, and he was able to draw the defense up and then dumped the ball right over the head. And, of course, you can see LJ capped it off right there with about a 4 or 5 yard run in the end zone. And, there again, the defense was swarming, and we created a fumble, and we were able to get it, and we moved the ball well. And, of course, you see J.B. Carlisle again. He almost punches it in the end zone again. And, of course, Mario Dobbins did a quarterback sneak, and we were able to punch that in again. And, we were capitalizing on some of the things that we needed to. And, of course, right here we had our second unit in, and we kind of let them run the little wing T action and get underneath us and move the ball right there. And they were actually pushing the ball down on us right here. And we wanted to, you want to try to keep the same intensity that you have, and but you want your younger guys to get some reps, and there's a lot of time left in the game, of course, even though the score was pretty wide score, but we didn't want to give them any kind of momentum because, you let a team get back in the game and get momentum, anything can happen. So we went back to the first team defense, and we forced him into a fumble there, and Cassius Carter was able to scoop it up and score it in for his first career touchdown.
That's incredible that he was able to get that and to end the game the way you did, because the last 2 times that you put the ball in the end zone was on a fire drill on the extra point, and then on a special teams touchdown on the punt, and being able to get the heads-up play there. And so really you scored offensively. Your defense set up a score with the fumble recovery, and then obviously you scored on special teams. It seemed from the outside looking in, it was about as a completed performance as you can get, with some room for improvement here and there.
Right. Well, we hadn't scored, I believe, on special teams all year, and we hadn't scored defensively, I believe, all year. So, we were due for some. That's part of our weekly planning, is to, get a touchdown on special teams and get a touchdown on defense, and to basically help the offense out. And I was glad to see us do that, because, like I said, we hadn't scored in those 2 areas all year.
I call it getting varsity reps, whenever your younger guys can get in on Friday night, because you really can't replicate that in practice or in JV games, but getting underneath the lights on Friday nights, and even some of your younger guys that have to go through some of those growing pains, getting them out there, I would think it's a pretty good thing.
Well, we actually got younger guys already out there.
Right, this is true.
And so it's getting our second group of young guys out there to get reps. But, I believe we started maybe 3 ninth graders on defense, and 2 or 3 sophomores, and then on offense, offensive line, we have 2 sophomores starting, and we just young everywhere. So basically, it's just getting that second group out. But it's kind of tough because, like I said, we had a pretty good margin starting the 4th quarter, but you don't want to get them in and you got 12 minutes to play and let them score 3 or 4 touchdowns, and now you got a game. So
absolutely.
You want to kind of shut them down early, to make sure that, they don't feel like they can come back, and that's sort of what we did.
Absolutely. Put together a complete performance at a 55-13 win over White Plains last week. Another Calhoun County rival team comes up in week 7 against Sachs. We will talk about that game, a big rivalry game, as Anniston looks to keep the momentum rolling into week 7. We're back with more on that here on the Bulldog Blitz. We're back here on the Bulldog Blitz. The Anniston Bulldogs looking to take the momentum of last week going into this week. It's another big region game. The Anniston Bulldogs will face Sachs. This game on the road coming up in week 7. And Coach, this is obviously one of those games. We talked about it at the beginning of the season. We talked about it several other times, where playing now in this region means you get games like this.
Right, big time rivalry, and one good thing about it is all the kids know each other, and records you can throw out the one that's about who execute the best on that particular night, and we know it would be a sellout crowd, so just looking forward to going out and playing a tough ball game.
Absolutely. Sachs is one of the teams that over the last maybe 3 or 4 or 5 years, they've had a little constant run there of success, whether they're in Class 3A or Class 4A. What are some of the things that you've seen on them this year as they now look to build here in their season?
Well, they still have, the ingredients that they did, when they were making that run, and they're not quite as athletic as they were, but once you learn how to win, you can take average players and put them together and basically win. And that's one thing they know how to do right now, is win. But I feel like that we have a great chance at going out playing them, because they know our kids and they know the talent level that we have. And, it just creates a exciting atmosphere for those guys to go against them. And I think we have a good chance of going out there playing very well.
And this is not just a rivalry game that you would put like in week 1 or week 5 or week 10. This is now not only a big rivalry game, but it's a rivalry game that means something because it's a region game.
It's a region game. And, of course, Sachs, I believe they got a few wins already in the region. So, they don't have as much pressure on them as we have on us. They sitting pretty comfortable, but it's basically a must-win for us. We need to go out and if we want to stay in the race, we have to win that game.
Absolutely. You're taking a look here at the standings in Class 4A Region 5 so far. Cherokee County and Jacksonville unblemished so far, and a lot to really dissect between position 3 through 8. And there's really nothing has been set in stone. Everything is still kind of up for grabs, so to speak.
Right. Well, you have a lot of those teams. Of course, Hoax Bluff, Indiana, Sax, Anderson, Asheville. Guys still have to play each other, and anything can happen, based on what teams win. So you could paint a lot of scenarios out of that. But I basically tell my guys, in order for us to take all the guesswork out of it, you just win.
Absolutely.
And if we win, we in.
Absolutely. This is also a big game because you talked about the players knowing each other, but these are two communities that know each other really well too. I mean, obviously you share a county with White Plains, but with a team like Sax, I mean, a lot of these guys are legitimately almost next door, walking distance from each other, the way they live and go to church and all of that.
Well, you're so close in proximity, and we actually have some athletes that attend Sax that actually come from Anderson, and you just basically they just know each other, and you want to make sure that that you're up mentally for the game and that you prepared, and it's a team that go out and execute the best, generally be the team that's most successful.
Also, I think this game comes at a good time because it comes off a good performance last week, and so now you have tangible evidence of what we're like when we're at our best, and what we're like whenever we don't play our best.
You are absolutely right, and that's one of the key points with us going into the game is the fact that we've had problems in the past where the offense may play well and the defense not so well, and then when the defense played well, we couldn't put points on the board. And, we actually had both of the teams clicking at the same time, and so we have a picture of what we're capable of doing, if we do what we're supposed to do, and that's the key, is going in, having a great week of preparation, and taking that momentum into Friday night's game.
Absolutely. What are maybe one or two things that you want to see on film when you cut the film on next week that you've improved in between last week and this week?
Well, we improved in our blocking area, and defensively we improved in our gap integrity. We were actually getting to the football. A lot of times defensively we would be in the right place, but we wouldn't do that extra to make the play. And, we talked about that, getting swarming to the football. And then, of course, offensively, we talked about just being patient, holding the blocks, and the running backs taking time to read the blocks and running downhill. So those are two areas that I think we improved on.
Absolutely. This game is at Sax, a place, like you said, that is expected to be a packed crowd out there. Talk about going back on the road after you had homecoming last week. Well,
just another tough job. We actually have two tough games on the road back to back. I won't get into the second game, which is Hoax Bluff, but basically, we just got to get mentally prepared for it. I mean, you're going in on their home field, and everybody feel like they can win on their home field, but you have to feel like you can win anywhere you go if you execute.
Right. We always talk about this during week one, but I guess it serves notice again, coming up in our big rivalry game, not getting to get the guys not letting them get too excited about it and really kind of focusing on the fundamental things that they need to play. What are some of the things that you do during the week in order to kind of ensure that as much as possible?
Well, first of all, I talk about, not playing on emotion. We have guys that sometimes they get emotionally up, and I tell them emotions run out, but if you do the things you need to do, physically, as far as your running and your weight training, and you play off of energy, that doesn't run out. It's the fact of you just having the physical ability and the discipline to do what you need to do. So, I tell the guys, just stay even keel. It's no different than any other game. I mean, the implications are different, but it's no different than any other game. Once you kick the football off, you're on a Friday night football game. So, you play it just like you would any other game, and try to play it to the best of your ability.
Absolutely. Homecoming was a success, 55-13 at home. The Anderson Bulldogs now go on the road over to Jack Stewart Field. We talked about it with Coach just a minute ago. This is a big rivalry game. It's also a big region game. Head out to Jack Stewart Field over in Sax for a huge game between the Wildcats and the Bulldogs. We will break it all down right here next week on the Bulldog Blitz. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you then.